So there's a lot of conversation currently happening right now about GTA 6. Now, GTA 6, a video was just made by Endymion that's making the rounds right now, talking about the potential implications of certain things that are happening over at Rockstar and how they can affect GTA 6. Now, when it comes to Grand Theft Auto 6, I want to make it very clear. We've been talking about this for months. I feel like almost a year now when it comes to Grand Theft Auto 6. I remember making a video ages back talking about GTA 6 and how the developers admitted openly that this game is not going to be as edgy. They're not going to be as many offensive jokes, if any. They're going to try to tone the game down. Once the developers started saying they were going to tone down Grand Theft Auto, I kind of already knew that what Grand Theft Auto was is absolutely cooked. And what we are going to get as Grand Theft Auto 6 is not necessarily going to be bad. It's just not going to be what people probably know and love about Grand Theft Auto in general as a series.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
So here we have a headline from That Park Place that reads, "Is GTA 6 woke? DEI employee certifications highlight the quiet shift threatening Rockstar." Now, I don't know why everybody is suddenly so damn shocked over the fact that Grand Theft Auto 6 may or may not be woke. I feel like this is something that we've known for a long time. This is something that we've seen the writing on the wall for a long time. If anybody's been following the conversation that I've been having, as well as other YouTubers, I feel like this should have been known. This should have been expected by now. And again, I'm not saying that this game is going to be woke as hell like Dragon Age of Veilguard, but what I am saying is that it absolutely, according to the words of the developers themselves, is going to be a toned down version of Grand Theft Auto. It is not going to be the Grand Theft Auto that you know and love. And all the issues that were happening with Laszlo as well is a big telling that things aren't looking very good for Grand Theft Auto 6. So let's get into this article, guys, from That Park Plays. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. Now, also, too, a lot of things that people were complaining about is that there is a female protagonist that you could play as. Everybody's assuming that you could play as two protagonists, right? The female and the male. But the thing is, there's been a female protagonist in Grand Theft Auto in the past. Granted, it was one of the first Grand Theft Autos, and it was more when it was back in its old school form and current, instead of its new form that happened with Grand Theft Auto 3. But ultimately, this game is not the first to have a female protagonist, so people flipping out about that, while I understand that, and it's very clear that certain choices were probably made due to DEI over at Rockstar, it's not something that hasn't happened in the past before. So it says, is Grand Theft Auto 6 woke? Certain changes at Rockstar are giving gamers anxiety regarding the future of the long-running franchise. FYI, you should have had anxiety already. You should have had it already. Like, I don't know why, the discovery of certain LinkedIn stuff and everything is making everybody have anxiety now. You should have had anxiety from the get-go. Just based off what they said earlier in the year. Is there any other video game in the world more anticipated right now than GTA 6? No, there isn't. And that's true, there isn't. GTA 5 was released in 2013 and sold like hot cocoa on a cold winter day at the North Pole. It's no surprise then that everyone and their mothers eagerly waiting GTA 6. This has been a long, long 12 years and counting, and we still don't have the game in our hands. Well, that's because not Grand Theft Auto. That's because Rockstar realized that they didn't have to come out with a Grand Theft Auto 6, right? Rockstar realized that due to Grand Theft Auto Online and the amount of money that the whales were willing to give to that platform over and over and over again for years on end, they didn't have to come out with a Grand Theft Auto 6. Grand Theft Auto 5 was making them more money than they ever needed. So they didn't really have to produce a 6. Right now, the only reason they're producing a 6 is because at this point, Grand Theft Auto Online is showing its age, and also it's an ego thing. They want to be able to release 6 and milk it for the next 10 to 15 years on multiple platforms. However, in 2023, Rockstar released the first GTA 6 trailer, and it was nothing short of stunning. Yet, as quickly as the excitement for the trailer spread, concerns began to surface. People started asking, is GTA 6 woke? After getting a glimpse at the game's new playable character, one of the most notable shifts in GTA 6 is that it would introduce the series' first female protagonist. That's not true. That's not true. While every previous entry featured male protagonist, GTA 6 will include both a female and a male lead. This dual protagonist setup, however, was not fully alleviated the skepticism that some fans feel about the game. You could pick a female protagonist in the original Grand Theft Auto. I don't know why this article is saying this is a first female protagonist. It's not. You could say this is the first female protagonist with the behind the camera kind of setup, right? Not the over the top setup, but it's not the first female protagonist that you could pick in a Grand Theft Auto game. To be clear, criticizing the game solely because it includes a female protagonist isn't a valid argument. Rockstar has a stellar track record of delivering exceptional stories and well-written characters, from Arthur Morgan in Red Dead Redemption 2 to the chaotic yet compelling trio of Trevor, Michael, and Franklin in GTA 5. Rockstar has consistently excelled at crafting characters that resonate with players. If the only concern is the inclusion of a female lead, that alone should not warrant criticism. Well, here's the issue with that. So Grand Theft Auto is a series that is based in reality, right? It's not a series that is fantastical. It's not a series that's like a fantasy RPG or anything like that. It's a game that's based in reality, right? It mimics real world locations, has real world weapons, real world everything. Everything is based in the real world for the most part, and it's telling its own story within that. So the problem is that when you get a female protagonist, look at what we've experienced in the other Grand Theft Auto games, right? Look at all the chaotic things we've experienced in those games and the amount of absolute insanity that the protagonists have had to gone through. Most of the time, 99.9% of the time, I cannot view a woman getting out of certain situations that those male characters were in. I just can't see it, right? A lot of it was physical brute force. A lot of it was just overall combat. I cannot see how a female character is going to get themselves out of those situations. Now, the thing is, they can tailor the story to make it more centric around a female character and make it less about brute force and brutal combat and more so about tactical stealth or whatever, something that would make a little bit more sense to a female protagonist that you're not gonna go up against fucking 300-pound dudes and start knocking them out. Although, hey, if you played Star Wars Outlaws, apparently that's a thing. But still, you're in a real world, right? You're in a real world setting, real world characters for the most part, and you're trying to sell the story within the world. So it has to make sense. And when you introduce a female character, it makes you question a lot of things that they may potentially get involved in as the character progresses through the story. Now, we won't know that till we play it, obviously. I'm not going to sit here and pretend as if we do know, but still, it's going to make it very difficult, considering the track record that we have with Grand Theft Auto and what the characters have gone through before. Now, we do know this is going to be a toned-down version of Grand Theft Auto, thanks to the developers telling us that fact prior. But toned down in jokes and toned down in overall edginess is not necessarily toned down in violence. So I'm just confused as to how she's going to pull it off. But hey, like he said, Rockstar has given us great stories. Maybe they'll pull through this time. We'll see. So it says, in fact, the idea of a female protagonist in Grand Theft Auto series is new. Back in 2011 or 12, Dan Houser, Rockstar co-founder and writer, was after the series would ever feature a female lead. His response was clear. If the story called for it, then absolutely. It even been speculated that before his departure from Rockstar in 2020, Houser had completed or was close to completing a treatment for GTA 6. Reportedly, the game was to draw inspiration from a Bonnie and Clyde style story, influenced by Warren Beatty's Bonnie and Clyde and Tony Scott's True Romance. Now, one thing I do realize is the wording that this journalist is trying to use in this article is more so talking about, now I realize it, so I apologize, but it's more so talking about the fact that a sole protagonist, right? So there hasn't been a female lead sole protagonist in the game before, whereas in the original Grand Theft Auto, you can choose from multiple protagonists that aren't necessarily a sole protagonist. There's no singular story following a singular person or a group of people, right? It's just multiple protagonists that you could pick and have at it in the game with. So I understand what he's trying to say, but still, it's misleading, and it makes it seem as if there's never been a female protagonist ever in Grand Theft Auto, which there has been. If that's the case, Houser himself endorsed the idea. Telling a compelling story could work with a female protagonist. This should put the concern to rest, right? And yet there's another underlying issue here, one that points to a deeper worry about the future of Rockstar games. Now, here's the biggest issue, the departure of key creatives. In 2013, Michael Unsworth, another veteran writer in key creative behind GTA 4, left the company. Why did these departures happen? What's going on at Rockstar? To this day, no one really knows. Houser, notoriously private and media shy, has remained silent on the matter, and Unsworth's exit only adds to the uncertainty. Having seen many other companies lose their senior talent or founding creators, I know how often this spells trouble for their future projects, and it's true. It's absolutely true. The game 100% is going to be in trouble by losing key creatives either at the beginning, halfway through, or even towards the end. It's going to be very rough when you lose people that are influential to that extent in your game. Then it says the changing landscape of beloved franchises. This is obvious where we know about games like Star Wars Outlaws and what Ubisoft is pushing with Assassin's Creed. We get it. We totally get it. It's a sign that things are not looking good. Then, one notable example, Rockstar's shift came in 2022 when they censored content in Grand Theft Auto 5 Expanded and Enhanced Edition. This updated version of the game removed elements that allegedly maligned individuals who identify with a gender that differs from their anatomy. These changes included the removal of certain caricatured NPCs and in-game props, such as signage referencing drag performance. Dialogues perceived as mocking towards the rainbow community were also edited out. And you see what I'm saying? This is a sign that GTA 6 is not going to be what the former GTAs were. They're already trying to censor GTA 5. What makes you think they're not going to be light-handed or censoring GTA 6? Of course they are. Of course they are. The ideology has taken over at Rockstar, and they've decided that they're going to focus more on that than giving you the fun story that you expect from a Grand Theft Auto game. Grand Theft Auto is the equivalent of a South Park episode where they really shouldn't give a shit over who they offend and what they say, because at the end of the day, if you could joke about one person, you should joke about everything. There is no special class. There is no protected class who is, protected against jokes. That's not how this works when it comes to real comedy. So when you start censoring jokes in Grand Theft Auto, it makes it very clear where the ideology of the developers lie, and hopefully that doesn't mean that it seeps into the gameplay little by little, and that is truly what is most worrisome when it comes to GTA 6, in my opinion. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.